Welcome to Chrysler Arena as Michigan men's basketball takes on number 24 Maryland. I'm Evan Osterly alongside Vanessa Litchard. Charlie Goodwin joining us in the second half. But number 6 Michigan coming off a loss at Penn State on Tuesday, their third loss of the season. They haven't lost at home yet though, in a big game against a Maryland team that's coming off their best win of the season against number 12 Purdue. Vanessa, what happened on Tuesday night?
Honestly, I wish I could answer that. I wish even Michigan basketball could answer that question. I would say it was bad reffing, bad shooting, and a whole bunch of bad things all combining into one. But now that Michigan's at home, they're going to play, and they're going to play to win.
Michigan losing to Penn State on Tuesday night on the road, 75-69. It got close in the second half, but Michigan struggled through much of the first half. Head coach John Beilein, normally very even-tempered, got ejected after the buzzer sounded for halftime. Back-to-back technical fouls, a confrontation with the refereeing crew at Penn State. I'm sure that he was frustrated with the situation. It seemed like the team came out with a spark, but regardless, they weren't able to get it done without him on the sideline in the second half. The Wolverines coming off a loss. Meanwhile, I mentioned Maryland with their biggest win of the season over number 12 Purdue. They had lost 3 out of 4 games, but now on a 2-game winning streak. What does this Maryland team do, and how can Michigan counter it?
Honestly, it's going to be a pretty good game here today. And in Chrysler, I don't know, honestly, because with Michigan playing Penn State and then Maryland just beating Purdue, it's like they're even matched in a way. We'll have to wait and see how this game goes, but since Michigan is at home, they should have the advantage with this basketball. I think if they are able to get some of their shots on and they're able to make their free throws, then Michigan has this game in the bag, but it all depends on those two things.
Starting lineups for each team. For the Wolverines, point guard Xavier Simpson, shooting guard Jordan Poole, at forward Charles Matthews, forward Ignas Brasdeikis, and the center, John Teske. For Maryland, they're led by junior guard Anthony Cohen Jr., freshman guard Eric Ayala, sophomore forward and NBA prospect Bruno Fernando, freshman forward NBA prospect Jalen Smith, and sophomore guard Daryl Morsell.
Lots of prospects, yeah.
Lots of NBA prospects in this game. For Maryland, Anthony Cohen Jr., the guard, projected in the second round right now. Bruno Fernando's a lottery pick projection, and then freshman Jalen Smith projected to go late in the first round. We've seen some of these Wolverines bounce up and down draft boards. Charles Matthews, Jordan Poole, Brasdeikis, even Teske. So you know that there's NBA scouts in the building trying to get a look at some of these players.
The question is, where are they? Because this arena is completely and totally full. But they're here somewhere.
They are. 13th sellout in a row here at Chrysler. It was a late arriving crowd per usual for these noon tips, but the crowd is here and ready to go. It's a pink out.
Yeah, pink out for breast cancer awareness. I think they had to do this game during Valentine's Day since it fits with the pink and red holiday scheme. But it's pretty cool. I think the student section all got free shirts. They're all wearing matching pink breast cancer shirts. It's a good cause for good awareness. And then, of course, we have Michigan with their pink shoes, which is pretty dope as well.
Lots of pink in the building. Maryland in their road reds, Michigan in their home whites. It'll be Teske against Fernando for the opening tip. We are just about ready to get going here at Chrysler.
Who's going to win the tip-off is the question. My money is on Teske. He looks a little bit taller than this Fernando.
Bruno Fernando, 6'10". He's very strong at 240 pounds, but Teske does have a 3-inch height advantage. A key matchup to watch definitely today. The other one, of course, being Anthony Cohen Jr. against Xavier Simpson.
Yeah, that should be a good matchup.
Tip is up. Teske does win it. Here we go at Chrysler. Xavier Simpson setting it up for the Wolverines. Hands to Brasdeikis. Swings it to Teske up top. Hands to Poole. Poole drives in. Floater in the lane. No good. Followed his own shot, but could not get the rebound. Fernando came up with it. Ayala bringing it up for Maryland. Gives to Fernando. Fernando right away goes inside against Teske. Going to have to give it up. Cohen now gets a screen, dumps it inside. Tough layup, no good. The freshman Jalen Smith couldn't finish. Brazdakis in transition, finds Poole on the baseline, kicks out, Simpson wide open for three. That goes, Xavier Simpson for three.
That's how to start it off. First three of the night, and it is in.
Michigan leads 3-0, 1 minute into the game. Xavier Simpson opening up the scoring. Fernando, hands off. Inside, Ayala lost it. Back the other way now. Simpson, good pass to Brazdakis in transition, but he lost it out of bounds.
That was a good pass. If only it was just a little, maybe less muscles, then Brazdakis could have caught that and gotten that layup, but it was a good look nonetheless.
Simpson fired it to Brazdakis. It looked like Brazdakis just couldn't handle it as he started to look up at the basket, and you got to catch the ball first. They teach you that in football. I don't know about basketball.
Yeah, I think in basketball maybe a little bit, but Maryland's ball.
Cohen dumps into Teskey, to Fernando, who's guarded by Teskey. Little spin move and hook by Fernando, no good. Xavier Simpson comes up with it back the other way. Finds Poole in transition. Poole blows by Ayala, kicks back out. Teskey up to Simpson, and he'll reset.
We all know Teskey won't shoot that shot.
Teskey does take a three now. No good. Well short. Maybe he shouldn't have.
I spoke too soon.
He's been on and off. His three-point percentage improved a lot once Big Ten play started, but a sporadic shooter at best, as many of these Wolverines have been recently. Cohen gets a screen, working against Brazdakis. Now swings to Ayala. Ayala working against Matthews. Now Cohen late in the shot clock, down to 5, working against Brazdakis. Little floater, no good. More good Michigan defense early. Simpson brings it back up the other way. Simpson in the lane, kicks out wide open, Brazdakis for three. Ignis Brazdakis, 2 of 2 from 3 for the Wolverines. They lead 6-0.
If Michigan keeps it up like this with the shots on and the defense also stopping Maryland, then this is going to be a Michigan ball game.
When Michigan shoots the ball well, they are as good as anybody in the country. The shooting has been off most of the time lately as Maryland gets an easy bucket on the other end. That's the freshman, Bruno Fernando, not Jalen Smith, that finished that one. 6-2 Michigan. Simpson to Teskey. Wolverines setting up their offense. Simpson swings it to Matthews. Matthews driving into the lane. Little spin move, turnaround jumper for Charles Matthews, and that goes. Charles Matthews coming off a huge game last Saturday against Wisconsin. He had 18 points, carried the Wolverines in the second half. He gets himself going.
Yeah, that was a nice shot. First two-pointer of the night for Michigan.
Cohen swings to the corner. Ayala, three-pointer, no good. Battle for the rebound between Brazdakis and Smith. And they're going to call an over-the-back foul on Jalen Smith.
Definitely, I think, with Iggy, or was that Teskey? Teskey falling?
That was Ignis Brazdakis
Iggy
going
falling.
Up the rebound.
Yeah, definitely with him falling, too, that signified the foul even more. So it's good always for the Michigan to not get the first foul.
8-2, Michigan leads, 16:30 to go. You talk about Michigan not fouling. They foul less than anybody else in the country. John Beilein's teams do not foul, don't turn the ball over either. So fundamentally sound. Simpson working with 15 on the shot clock, drives in, kicks to Brazdakis in the corner for three again. No good, rolls off the back of the rim. Maryland back the other way. Cohen dumps inside. That's Fernando. Tough defense again from Teskey. No good. Back the other way again. Simpson in transition. Charles Matthews to the rim. Matthews with the slam. Michigan up 10-2 early. And this team is playing hot coming off a bad loss.
Yeah, that was a pretty impressive play right there. Pretty impressive defense. All started with Teskey.
Teskey with the late block on Fernando's attempt led to the transition play, and it started with a Simpson pass, ended with a Charles Matthews dunk. 10-2 Michigan, 15:30 to go in the first half, and Maryland threw it away. We're going to hit the under 16 media timeout. Michigan leads 10-2. They are playing excellent defense, excellent offense. How did this Michigan team start this game so hot?
Honestly, I think that loss against Penn State rattled the whole team, especially Beilein, but I think they have to come back after that. They can't just be like, oh, we're going to continue to play like this are going to be like, no, you will never see this team play like this again. Especially now with March creeping up on us as we move forward in this season. They can't have games like that again. It can't. That's detrimental to any team. So I think they took that loss, and they're here now against Maryland, who's a team that just beat, as you said, Purdue, which is a better team than Penn State. So they needed to play, and here they are. Amazing offense, amazing defense. I mean, Fernando can't even get anything up on Teskey. It's looking good for Michigan. I hope that they can continue with this momentum and keep playing this great defense and offense.
Michigan 14-0 at home on the season coming into this game today. Just 8-3 away from Chrysler. But a lot's been made of the couple bad games that Michigan's played. A tough one at Iowa, a tough one, of course, at Penn State.
Wisconsin, Penn State.
But at the end of the day, this is still a 22-3 team. They're ranked top 10 in the country.
Nothing to be embarrassed about. Honestly, those losses, although they may be to teams that you shouldn't lose to, losses are bound to happen to any team. I mean, Michigan is still, as you said, top in the country. They're still a great team. Beeline's got them under control. A loss, again, is bound to happen, and they can't let them get that down, and they don't. And that's why they continue to be as successful with not losing a single game at home this year so far.
Good start for Charles Matthews. 4 points, made both of his shots for the Wolverines. Xavier Simpson hitting a three-pointer early. He also has 2 rebounds and 2 assists. For Maryland, nothing really going offensively. The only points coming from Jalen Smith, the freshman, who just checked out of the game.
Who's in for him?
It'll be Ricky Lindo Jr., another freshman. This is a young Maryland team. They play a lot of freshmen all the time.
A lot of prospects, though. I mean, you got to play those freshmen before they're taken away from you when they're junior seniors to the NBA.
Head coach Mark Turgeon has recruited really well at Maryland. A really strong basketball program. They've had up and down years since they joined the Big Ten, but this is definitely an up year for them. They come into this one 19-6. They're 10-4 in the Big Ten. Before that stretch where they lost 3 out of 4 games, they were right there with Michigan, Michigan State, and Purdue at the top of the Big Ten. But it is crowded between Michigan, Michigan State, Maryland, Iowa, Wisconsin. The top of the Big Ten is really, really good, and it's going to be a tough finish for Michigan. They still go to Maryland. They have 2 games against Michigan State. They play Minnesota again.
I honestly, not to move forward in a week in advance, but holy cow, when they play Michigan State, that is going to be the game of the season here at Chrysler. I believe next Sunday they play Michigan State. I'm excited for that game because those 2 teams have been almost dominating the Big Ten to who to look out for, so it should be an exciting game, an exciting match, especially since it's here in Chrysler, and again, Michigan has not lost here yet. That'll be
3:45 p.m. next Sunday. After a couple weeks of the season, it was very clear that Duke and Virginia and Michigan State were both going. It was going to be the pair of great teams in the ACC and the Big Ten. Duke and Virginia have already played twice. Michigan State still play twice. So you know that the national media is just waiting to cover those games. Simpson gets it started out of the under-16 timeout. Some trap defense from Maryland. Now Charles Matthews gets it on the wing. Kicks out to Teskey. Teskey for 3. That is up. Air ball there. Brazdakis with the rebound, and he puts it back. But John Teskey not shooting great to start this game.
I mean, I guess as a center, it's hard to shoot threes for anyone, but he's taking his chances. Guess he just needs a little bit of improvement.
Ayala on the other end now. Cohen into the lane. Fernando gets it. Working against Teskey down there. Little spin move up and no good again. John Teskey, great defense against Bruno Fernando so far. Brazdakis, good pass ahead to Matthews. Easy lay-in. And Mark Turgeon wants a timeout before this one gets away from him. 14-2 Michigan.
Michigan, as they come back from the media timeout, here they are causing Maryland to take another timeout. I mean, this team, they didn't lose any of that momentum, even with the 2-minute or 3-minute break or whatever that was. It's crazy to see them be able to play. Where was this team on Tuesday is the question I'm asking now. But again, I think that has to do something with them being home now and them realizing they needed to step up from last Tuesday when they played Penn State.
It's so interesting in basketball. I would say probably more than any other sport, which is maybe hockey is comparable because there's as many games, but teams can just look so different within the same week. You have Michigan come out and lay an egg in the first half against Penn State, and here they are against a way better Maryland team, number 24 in the country. 3 NBA prospects might all go in the first round, and they're dominating the game early. It's really night and day.
It really is, and it's really exciting, again, just to see Michigan, like, come back from that loss, see them have this momentum at home, and, like, the crowd's going crazy. The chemistry is there. Let's see if they can keep this up for the rest of this half.
Junior Anthony Cohen looking to respond for Maryland. Mark Turgeon obviously frustrated over on the sideline. And that one
Did that hit off someone's shoe?
I think it got kicked out of bounds. Joshua Tomek, a redshirt sophomore, into the game for Maryland.
Interesting choice.
Aaron Wiggins also in the game for the Terps. Cohen drives against Simpson. Tough layup at the rim. No good again. More excellent defense from the Wolverines. Simpson quickly in transition. Finds Brazdakis. Pull in the corner for 3. No good. Nearly got it to go. And looked like that one was off Tomek, but it's going to be Maryland ball. Cyril Smith Jr. also in the game for the Terps. So Mark Turgeon going to his bench here early, trying to create some energy. Starters in the game for the Wolverines, except for Teske, who went to the bench for freshman Brandon Johns. Smith working against Brazdakis. Swings it across the floor, now inside. And the foul, that goes for Jalen Smith, working against Ignas Brazdakis. He has all 4 of Maryland's points so far, and Livers is going to check in for Brazdakis.
Yeah, so far, again, this team's been impressing me. Maryland's really subbing out their bench already early. I mean, so is Michigan a little bit. Usually they play their starters almost the whole time, but there's some new faces out on the floor right now.
Smith misses the free throw. Matthews comes up with it.
You can't miss the free throws.
Chrysler, a tough place to play for any team. Against a team that plays such good defense, you have to make your free throws, as you said.
If only the same could be said for Michigan, because they also struggle with free throws.
It's been one of the pitfalls of this team. Depth and sporadic shooting, both from 3 and from the free throw line, have been the criticisms of this excellent Michigan team. Matthews with 5 on the shot clock. Matthews, step back three-pointer, no good. Didn't hit anything. That was an air ball, and Maryland now finally showing some energy at both ends.
Definitely the shot clock is something I tend to forget with college basketball and basketball in general. It's so hard to really form that 30 seconds, a good play and a good shot. But these teams do it. It's impressive.
Cohen lost the ball. Poole throws it up to Simpson. Easy lane in transition and a bad turnover. Mark Turgeon immediately going to his bench. He is not happy with that.
It's 16-4 here in Chrysler.
Cohen, Jalen Smith, hands off to Saren Smith. Saren Smith for 3, no good. Offensive rebound for Maryland by Cohen. They'll reset. Good pass inside to Tomek.
Ooh. And
they're going to say he traveled. Wiggins fed it to Tomek, but he just could not gather his feet in time to go up for it.
Honestly, I thought they were going to call it on Isaiah. He kind of jumped a little bit, almost on top of that Maryland player. Luckily, though, there was a travel on the play, so a foul was not necessarily called.
It looked like it might have been a foul on Isaiah Livers. Now David DeJulius, the freshman point guard, checking into the game. Interesting that he comes in before Eli Brooks. Eli Brooks has typically been the first guard off the bench. DeJulius setting up the offense. Poole gets a screen from Teske. Poole down low to Teske, and he gets fouled by Ayala. He'll go to the line for 2 shots.
That was definitely a nice setup by Poole and Teske. The Poole was ready for that look. Teske went and cut to the basket and then caught it and, of course, was fouled. So only if he can make these free throws, then that'll be worth it.
Teske's first free throw is well short.
I'm telling you, it's one of the weakest aspects of this team that they cannot make most of their free throws. I played basketball in high school. I think free throws should be something that is fundamentally always there at the bottom of the day. But it is okay because this team still has a bunch of other amazing aspects. Teske missed his other 3 though.
Michigan just 68% from the free throw line on the year. Teske 59%. He misses both, so it stays at 16-4. 12:15 to go in the first half. Drive in by Jalen Smith. Little hook shot, no good. Teskey comes up with the rebound. DeJulius pass ahead to Matthews. Matthews working against Ayala. Double team coming. Kicks to Teskey. Back to Matthews. Charles Matthews feeds inside to Teskey. Bad pass, and it's going to be a jump ball as Teskey got tangled up with Ayala just under the 12-minute mark. So we do hit the 12-minute media timeout. Michigan leads 16-4 against Maryland. 8 minutes have passed in this game. Maryland scored just 4 points. What is Michigan doing defensively to slow them down?
I honestly think that it's the man-to-man defense that's going on. It's the Teskey matchup with the Brazdeikis matchup. Everyone's matched up evenly almost, or even better. Teskey's shooting down Fernando down in the post. Honestly, Fernando doesn't have any of their points yet, does he?
He does not. John Teskey has been excellent on Bruno Fernando, and you have to think Maryland's going to have to find a way to either get Anthony Cohen going or Bruno Fernando going. Those are their two best players, but they're going against Xavier Simpson and John Teskey, Michigan's two best defenders.
Exactly.
Charles Matthews also in that conversation. This team is so strong defensively. Bruno Fernando 0 of 3 so far, and that's got to be so frustrating. You come into a game and you're playing against a guy like John Teskey who's just so strong defensively. What do you do? What do you do for your Bruno Fernando?
Well, I do not know, because one thing, Bruno Fernando is 6'10", but John Teskey, again, is what, 7'1", right? Yeah, yep. 7'1". What do you do when you're a 6'10" man, but you're going against a 7'1" man? I mean, you're tall, but gosh darn it, is the person you're playing against even taller? So I think Fernando's going to have to find some new moves, find some new lookout, maybe get some shots on the top of the rim. We'll have to wait and see.
Wolverine crowd honoring their veteran of the game here at Chrysler.
That's great. Honestly, I love this hero of the game aspect at Michigan's. They do it at hockey games. They do it here. I think they do it at other small games too. And it's amazing. I mean, you see these veterans. You just are so grateful for their service. Right now, this man on the court looks like he's 80, 90 years old, probably served in World War II or early Vietnam, and what a hero.
Navy vet. It is definitely a good tradition that's been started here, the veterans of the game.
Yeah, hero of the game, again, is one of my favorite things I look forward to for the hockey games in between periods, or in between breaks, for media breaks, but it is cool to see it happen in all different sports here in Ann Arbor at U of M.
Charles Matthews, 6 points, 3 of 3 from the field. Xavier Simpson has 5. Brazdeikis also has 5. Those three doing all the scoring for the Wolverines. Jalen Smith, still the only player who's scored for Maryland. He has 4 points, 2 of 4 from the field, 2 rebounds for the talented freshman. But all Michigan so far. Michigan shooting 58% from the field. Meanwhile, Maryland just 18%. Michigan 2 of 6 from behind the arc. They've out-rebounded Maryland 10-6. 4 turnovers for the Terps, 3 for the Wolverines.
Yeah, as you just stated the stats there, Michigan's almost just taking the lead in every single aspect, in rebounds, in least amount of turnovers, in shots made. I'm honestly kind of surprised that Maryland even has 4 up on the board. I thought this was going to be like the Iowa game when Michigan had 17 before Iowa even got 1.
Get going here again. 11:57 to go in the first half. Michigan leads 16-4. Mark Turgeon frustrated over on the sideline. His Terps giving up offensive rebounds, getting no offensive rhythm on the other end against a strong Michigan defense. One of the biggest decisions John Beilein has made was adding a defensive assistant to his staff. He had such good offenses for so many years. He added Billy Donlin, who's now at Northwestern for a year, and it really changed the way that this program functioned. As soon as Donlin left, he went and got Luke Yaklich, who has just done wonders for this defense. They've been top 2 in the country each of the last 2 seasons, as Xavier Simpson gets another steal. Brazdeikis loses it in transition back the other way. It's going to be a fast break for Maryland, led by Wiggins. Wiggins, the feed and the slam. That goes for Lindo Jr.
That was a nice dunk. It was unfortunate that Brazdeikis had to lose the ball in the transition, but it was a fast play. It would have happened to any player. And there is a foul.
Ricky Lindo Jr. was an and one there. Foul on Matthews, so Lindo Jr. will shoot one more.
I didn't see that foul, honestly, but...
No good on the free throw. Livers grabs the rebound.
Looks like neither of these teams can make their free throws today.
Both teams 0 of 2 from the line so far. Simpson drives in, kicks out. Livers open for 3. No good on that one. Brazdeikis gets another offensive rebound for the Wolverines, his second. Simpson going to reset up top. Simpson to Livers to Brazdeikis. Brazdeikis now to Simpson on the wing. Simpson drives in, over his head pass to Livers in the corner for 3. That goes Isaiah Livers.
Great play. Great pass. You guys should be here tonight in this arena and see that pass because it is hard to describe. It was literally over his head, behind his head, like a hook shot backwards to the pass. And then Isaiah making that free was even more exciting.
Maryland loses it on the other end. The turnover out of bounds, so it'll be Michigan ball back the other way. Xavier Simpson, he might be undersized for a point guard, but he has learned to do a lot of different things with the ball. He's got such good body control in the lane, and it allows him to make hook shots and passes like that. Brazdeikis now kicks out Livers for 3 again. No good on that one. Easy rebound for Fernando. Ayala back the other way. Wiggins working against Brooks. Up top to Ayala. Now swings it over. Back up top to Ayala. Down to 15 on the shot clock. Down to 10 on the shot clock. Ayala still working against Simpson up top. Going to fire a deep 3. No good off the front of the rim. Matthews with the rebound. Back the other
rebound.
way. Great defense, great rebound by the Wolverines. Now Brooks on the other end. Brooks drives into the lane. A little hook shot up. No good. Went over Bruno Fernando and just couldn't get enough on it there. Here's Daryl Morsel. And more good defense. He lost it. Goes to the ground. Ball is loose. Still loose. Livers comes up with it. Wide open is Matthews up ahead, and Charles Matthews!
Slam dunk.
Little cherry picking there. There was a long tie up. The ball came free several times. Xavier Simpson stripped it away initially. Livers came up with it, threw it to Matthews. Michigan leads 21-6. Under 9.5 to go in the first half.
Yeah, this is so impressive, honestly. Again, of course, Michigan's had a couple flukes, but they're still playing great. That dunk, too, it was a little bit of cherry picking, as you said, but great.
Maryland gets it inside to Fernando. Another miss for Fernando. Comes up with the rebound, and they're going to call a reach-in foul on Xavier Simpson. So it'll stay with Maryland.
Yeah, you mentioned this earlier that Xavier Simpson, he is small for a guard. He is small for a guard, but oh my gosh, he's still so good. It's still so impressive that he can be so, quote, under height, end quote. But it's still just honestly one of the best players, if not the best player on Michigan. I hope that doesn't shut down some of his abilities to go into the NBA. It might, but he's still good even though he is not tall as most guards.
The heart and soul of this team, Xavier Simpson, so good defensively. Not the best shooter, but he does so much for this team offensively as well. Drive in. And that does go. Morsell finishes 21-8 now. Maryland finally starting to get some offense going. Quick pass to Livers. Livers drives in. Brazdeikis from the corner. No good. Quick possession there for Michigan. So back the other way now. Cohen for Maryland.
The question is, can they shut that Maryland down right now?
Cohen,
looks like it.
Morsell drives. Dumps into Ayala. Tough reverse layup. No good. More good defense from Teskey. Livers comes up with it. Gives to Simpson, and Michigan will set up on offense. 21-8. 8:15 to go in the first half. Simpson. Good feed to Teskey. Easy mid-range jumper. Oh. No good. John Teskey struggling with his shot. He's now 0 of 3.
Yeah, that was...
Quickly back the other way. Jalen Smith, the freshman, wide open for 3. No good. Rebound Poole.
These quick shots aren't doing good for any team. let's see what Michigan has to do here now.
Xavier Simpson swings to Brazdakis. Brazdakis driving in. Tough finish at the rim, no good. He wanted a foul. Good defense from Morsel, a lot of contact there, but no call. Cohen quickly back the other way, working against Brazdakis. Cohen into the lane. Gonna have to kick it back out now to Ayala. Ayala drives. Very tough defense from John Teskey.
Ooh.
But Wiggins comes up with it, and now it's blocked again. Livers, good pass to Poole in transition. Livers comes up, and Isaiah Livers with the slam off the feet from Jordan Poole. Michigan has been excellent in transition.
That's a timeout, Maryland.
Mark Turgeon takes his second time out of the game. Michigan leads 23-8, and they are just killing Maryland in transition. Off rebounds, off steals. Michigan has 6 points off turnovers. They have 10 fast break points. And you can really point to that as the difference in this game right now, that and the way that Michigan's shooting the ball.
Yeah, I mean, you think about the 2 dunks Matthews had and now just the dunk that Isaiah Livers had. That is, I mean, that's rare to even see it in a game, 3 in one game, and now that's been 3 in less than 13 minutes. It's pretty impressive, but what does it say about Maryland? It says that they're losing the ball easily. I mean, they're getting those turnovers and they're losing it in transition, or they can't keep up with Michigan's transition. And I mean, it's good for Michigan, but Maryland needs to look into that. I'm sure that's what their head coach is saying right now as they call the timeout, but we'll see if they change that up.
Maryland played so well against Purdue on Tuesday night. They were down 38-30 at halftime, but dominated the second half, 40-18. Won that game 70-56. You can't count Mark Turgeon in his career out. You know that he'll make halftime adjustments, but he definitely feels like this game is slipping away early already. His team just cannot keep up with the Wolverines in transition. So if you're Mark Turgeon, what are you telling your team in the huddle right now?
Honestly, if I was Mike Turgeon right now, I would be mad. I would be mad. I'd say we're missing some. They're missing some easy shots. I could say that's because of Michigan's good defense, but it's hard. They need to find the openings. I think they're looking for stuff that isn't there, as they've seen in the past 13 minutes. Not a lot of their layups or post moves have been working to get a good shot, and so something needs to change. What is it? Maybe a more intense defense on Maryland's part, and trying to find more holes in the offense. Maybe swing the ball around a little bit more. And honestly, I wouldn't rule Fernando out, but he's not doing much for this because Teskey's so good at defense. So I would signal out him and be like, are you going to do something?
Bruno Fernando struggling against John Teskey. He's 0-4 from the field. He does have 3 rebounds, but Jalen Smith with 4 points, 2 for Morsel, 2 for Lindo Jr. That's all for Maryland. 8 points for Charles Matthews. Isaiah Livers has added 5 off the bench. Xavier Simpson stuffing the stat sheet already. He's got 5 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists. Brazdakis 5 points, 5 rebounds. Everybody really contributing for the Wolverines.
Yeah, and that's always exciting to see. I'm looking forward to seeing Teskey's name appear on this stats board and get him some baskets, because so far the shots he's had, they haven't been that successful. He had 2 almost threes. And, you know, as a post player, you don't really see them shooting threes that much. And when they can, it's dangerous. But honestly, Teskey is not that good from outside of the three-point line. So he missed those 2 and then missed that easy jumper, as you quoted during the game. Maybe Teskey will do some of his post moves to get some of those easy 2 points. We'll have to wait and see what he does. But he needs to step it up a little bit with his shots. But, of course, everyone has off games, as we see Iggy Brazdakis when they play Wisconsin against Hap.
Teskey just 31% from behind the arc on the season. He has improved in Big Ten play, but he's been cold the last few games. Meanwhile, 59% from inside the arc, so great finisher at the rim. And now the Wolverines honoring last year's tournament team: Mo Wagner, Mohammed Abdul Rahman, Duncan Robinson, Jordan Morgan also there, a real throwback to the old teams.
Yeah, wow. I thought that was Big Sean for a moment. I was like, why is Big Sean here? But it wasn't.
Ayala will bring the ball up for the Terrapins. Next time we have a whistle, we'll hit the under-8 media timeout. Ayala working against Matthews. Cohen on the elbow. Cohen, tough mid-range jumper. Anthony Cohen getting some offense for the Terrapins. Cuts the lead to 13, 23-10, 6:50 to go in the first half. Matthews to Livers. Livers to Simpson. Inside, Teskey. Wide open is Jordan Poole. Great pass from John Teskey. No good for Poole. He has really struggled with his shot as of late. Maryland ball back the other way. Ayala working against Matthews. They're going to call a foul on the floor. Xavier Simpson held Anthony Cohen as he tried to fight through his screen.
Is that 2 for Simpson?
That is Simpson's second, so David DeJulius is going to check into the game. And typically a second foul in the first half means you're sitting until halftime. That's the John Beeline auto bench rule. So we'll see how much David DeJulius and Eli Brooks play for the rest of this first half.
It's exciting, though, to see these players get some new playing time.
DeJulius, the freshman, has not had many meaningful minutes until today. Livers in transition. Matthews up, no good. Battle for the rebound. Matthews comes up with it. Another offensive rebound for the Wolverines. Turgeon over on that sideline is frustrated. Teskey, another three-pointer, and another miss. He is 0 for 4 from the field, 0 of 3 from 3, and they have all been well short.
I just don't know what's going on with that, really, but perhaps that's a question for Teskey himself.
Cohen working against David DeJulius. Up top, Morsel. Morsel gets a screen from Smith. Tried to get inside to Smith, could not, and he throws it away over the head of Anthony Cohen. Back the other way to Michigan. 23-10, 5:41 to go in the first half.
Ricky Lindo Jr.
Lindo Jr. checking back in for Bruno Fernando. Brandon Johns is going to come in and give Teskey a break. Really only playing Teskey when Fernando's in the game to try to keep him fresh for that matchup. He dealt with Ethan Happ last Saturday.
Right now, the only starter Michigan has on the floor is Matthews.
Matthews and Jordan Poole as well.
Oh, yeah, Jordan Poole. Didn't see him.
But 2 freshmen in the game for the Wolverines. David DeJulius and Brandon Johns, who have not played a ton. DeJulius, a good drive, and a great finish from the freshman, David DeJulius. A hook shot that maybe he learned from Xavier Simpson in practice. He's pumped up.
I like that comment, Evan. It's very similar in the way they both progressed that.
Ayala working against Matthews. Cohen against DeJulius. And they're going to call a foul underneath. Brandon Johns, they said he held Jalen Smith.
Checking in for the Terrapins, number 2.
Aaron Wiggins checking in for Maryland. Morsel will head to the bench. It's DeJulius, Matthews, Poole, Livers, and Johns for the Wolverines. Inbound stolen by Johns. DeJulius back the other way.
Johns had to make up for getting that foul because Beeline was mad.
DeJulius kicks to Livers. Livers almost lost it, but he still has it working on the baseline. Now gives to Johns. Johns going to drive in against Jalen Smith. Johns, tough finish, could not get it to go. Good defense from Smith. Now Aaron Wiggins back the other way for Maryland. Wiggins loses it, stolen from behind by Charles Matthews. Here comes DeJulius in transition to Poole in the corner, and Poole stepped on the out-of-bounds line. So Maryland ball back the other way, but Maryland really struggling with turnovers in this game. They have 11 turnovers, and we have not hit halftime.
Yeah, I was just about to say the same thing, but that could be, again, on Michigan being so fast and so great with the ball. And I think there's going to be even more turnovers in the minute to come.
Wiggins to Cohen. Cohen drives in, has to kick out after the late help defense. Lindo to Wiggins, open for 3, and Wiggins does hit that, cuts the lead to 12.
That is their first 3 of the night.
Maryland 1 of 5 from 3, Michigan 3 of 12 on the other end, but Aaron Wiggins cuts this lead to 12. 25-13, 4 minutes to go in the first half. DeJulius, Matthews. Matthews inside working against Wiggins. They're going to call a foul on Charles Matthews. I think they're going to say he used his elbow to clear out space working against Wiggins in the post. He didn't like the call, but it's going to be Maryland ball back the other way. We're at the under 4 immediate timeout. Michigan 25, Maryland 13, 3:53 to go in the first half. Maryland finally started to get some offense going. What are they doing against this Michigan defense?
I think they're swinging it a little more. As I stated earlier, that was what they needed to do. They're not really looking anymore to Fernando. They actually took him out and replaced him with Wiggins.
It looked like,
yes.
Aaron Wiggins came into the game for Bruno Fernando.
So, we have our Mark Turgeon, head coach of the Terps, to change it up a little bit. And, I think it's working a little more. They finally got this half. They got over double digits in points, and they scored their first 3.
Maryland did hit their first 3-pointer. Wiggins with 3 off the bench. Nobody has more than 4 for the Terps. Jalen Smith with those 4. David DeJulius and Brandon Johns, the 2 freshmen coming into this game, making an impact. DeJulius with a tough layup. Brandon Johns playing some good defense, has a rebound and a steal. And David DeJulius, a guy who really has not seen any time besides garbage minutes. Brandon Johns played for a couple weeks, hasn't been playing much recently. What do you think it is about this game specifically that prompted John Beilein to play his freshman?
Definitely the score right away. I mean, the domination of Michigan is apparent to any person watching this game. So Beilein probably thought that this was the opportunity to play those guys he doesn't normally play. I was here for calling the game for Ohio State. It was a very similar score at the end of the game by winning by so much. And, I mean, he didn't play anyone else besides the starters, really. Isaiah Livers saw some minutes, but I think that was really the only other person he put out. So it's exciting to see DeJulius, Livers, other people stepping up, getting some playing time, and actually seeing DeJulius score. I was excited for him. I mean, it's always great to prove yourself to a coach, and always great to see some minutes as a freshman.
Much has also been made of the lack of depth for the Wolverines. Like you said, they play their starters heavy minutes. The rotation is at times been the 5 starters and then Isaiah Livers playing for Brazdakis.
Yeah,
or Teskey.
Sometimes you see Eli Brooks, but that's only sometimes.
Brooks is very rarely in the game. Austin Davis, the backup center, is fallen out of the rotation, so they need this depth when they hit March.
Yeah.
You can't have a 6-man rotation in the tournament. No. You literally cannot. You're playing 2 games in 2 days every single round, every single weekend of the tournament.
No.
If you only have 6 guys, it's not going to last.
I completely agree with you, Evan. I think that is another thing that could be the downfall of this team in March. You need more than 6 players. I mean, that's tiring for any person, especially in March when the games are 2 days, every 2 days. It's going to be terrible for them. Who can, 30, some of these guys' minutes are getting 40 minutes. Charles Matthews had 40 or 39 or 38, a high amount. It's like you need to put some new people on there just so that they can get a break. And those people that you put out on the court need to be people that are players that are reliable for Michigan. I don't know if Beilein doesn't think he can find that, but that's something that he needs to look for in these next seasons.
If DeJulius and Johns can step up late in the season, that would be huge for the Wolverines. DeJulius still in the game, likely going to play the rest of this first half with Simpson on the bench. 3-pointer from Wiggins again. Aaron Wiggins stepping up for the Terps. 25-16 now, and it's back to single digits for the first time in over 7 minutes.
Yeah, pretty impressive to see a 3 made again by Maryland. Turgeon must have said something on these timeouts to inspire them a little bit.
Brazdakis step back 3, no good. Ayala came up with the rebound. 25-16, Michigan leads. Clock ticking down to 3 minutes in the first half. Lindo Jr. hands off, and they're going to call an offensive foul on the screen from Lindo Jr. He handed it off to Wiggins and then hit to Julius hard.
Yeah, that was seen easily as Julius hit the floor, arms up, the flop, if you will, but he got that offensive foul, so pretty successful on his part.
Lindo Jr. frustrated with it, just kind of ran over to Julius. Maybe Julius did sell it a little bit, like you said, but Maryland was finally building some momentum, and now Michigan ball back the other way. Teskey hands off to Poole. Poole swings to Livers. Livers into the lane. Turnaround jumper. And that goes for Isaiah Livers. Some good minutes off the bench for him. He's got 7 now, 27-16, back to double-digit lead for Michigan.
Yeah, 1 point behind having as many points as Matthews. So good for Isaiah Livers, not a starter, but a player that Michigan can always rely on almost. So
Cohen up top to Jalen Smith. Good cut by Ayala, but it got kicked on the way in, so it'll stay with Maryland. 27-16, 2:29 to go in the first half. A low-scoring first half per usual. Two good defensive teams. Both play relatively slow. Maryland 258th out of 353 teams in pace in the country. Michigan 303rd. Jalen Smith up for three, no good. Poole comes up with the rebound. Poole to Brazdakis, open for three in transition, no good. Ignas Brazdakis fighting his shot a little bit. He's 1 of 5 from behind the arc. And quickly in transition, alley-oop attempt up to Jalen Smith, no good, so Poole back the other way. Poole gives to David DeJulius. DeJulius is going to roll back out, set up the offense, gets a screen from Teskey up high, working against Anthony Cohen Jr. DeJulius gets in the lane, swings to Poole. Poole back to DeJulius. DeJulius three-pointer, no good, in and out. Lindo Jr. comes up with the rebound for Maryland. Cohen quickly back the other way. Now he'll pull back and set up the offense. Wiggins working against Poole. Wiggins up top to Jalen Smith. Smith nearly carried it. Now he hands it off to Cohen. Down low to Smith. Good pass, but knocked away by Brazdakis. Smith goes back up against Teskey, and that's blocked, but they're going to call a foul on John Teskey. It looked like he got ball. He might have got him lower on the body with his arm, but Jalen Smith will shoot two for the Terps.
Yeah, I saw that foul coming, even though it wasn't, it didn't look like, a good call on the ref's part, but it was the positioning of Teskey against Smith, and it was bound to happen. But can Smith make his free throws? Yes.
He makes the first. He
this
missed
is the first
earlier.
free throw made of the whole game.
Michigan 0 of 2 from the free throw line. Maryland was 0 of 2 before that one, now 1 of 3. Jalen Smith's second free throw now.
Is he wearing glasses?
He's got sports goggles. Jalen Smith, the freshman for the Terps, makes both. So 27-18, does have those sports goggles that we mentioned.
I just noticed that on the big screen. It's funny what you can't see from here, really.
Brooks, Livers, Teskey, they're swinging it around up top. Poole fell down, kind of got shoved from behind by Cohen, but no call. Brooks, 15 on the shot clock, working against Ayala, gets a screen from Teskey. Brooks swings it. Livers, Teskey, late in the shot clock, mid-range jumper, another miss by John Teskey.
What is going on with those mid-range shots and far shots from Teskey? Since when has that been a thing?
0 of 5. He's been decent from mid-range this season, but really struggling today. He has not taken really any looks in the paint.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. It's one thing to have all those shots and miss, but it's another thing to not even do your position as a center.
Jalen Smith has a shot blocked by Livers. Quickly in transition, Jordan Poole. Brooks will slow it down, and 30 seconds left in the half. 5-second difference between shot and game clock, and Michigan going to take not the last shot, but close to it. John Beeline's going to take a timeout and draw something up. 21.5 seconds left, 16 on the shot clock after this 30-second timeout from the Wolverines. Michigan leads 27-18. Maryland finally getting some offense to go. A couple Aaron Wiggins threes, some free throws from Jalen Smith, and all of a sudden it's a game again. Michigan no points in the last 2 minutes, 31 seconds. What has Maryland done defensively to slow Michigan down?
I think, honestly, it's even more Michigan themselves. Teskey's taking these far shots. Why isn't he posting up? I don't know. Maybe it's a little bit Smith for the Terps that's doing some good defense. I would say, though, that they're acting fast. They're kind of shooting shots just to shoot. But it was working earlier. I don't know where that momentum went. I don't know why they're struggling because, as you said earlier, they have not gotten a shot in 2 minutes. So we'll have to wait and see if Michigan will be able to get some shots in this 21 seconds or get a last shot, as there's 16 seconds left on the shot clock. And they are about to play. Let's see what happens here. For Michigan to score 3 or even 2 points would put them in double digits higher than Maryland. So that would be a big and good way to end this first half.
15 seconds on the game clock. Brazdakis has it. 8 on the shot clock. Brazdakis drives in. They're going to call a foul on the floor. Just the 4th Maryland team foul, so it's not going to be free throws. 12.4 left on the game clock. Michigan can now get the last shot. Shot clock is off. Brooks gets it into Poole. Poole's going to pull it out and wait out these last few seconds before the last shot. 5 seconds on the clock now. 4 on the clock. Jordan Poole, 2 on the clock. Tough contested shot, no good. Not a great look there from Jordan Poole. So we hit halftime. Michigan 27, Maryland 18. Michigan dominated for much of the half, but Maryland cutting into the lead late there.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised by Maryland's comeback almost. I mean, right now they're losing by 9, and that's a lot better than when they were losing by 12 or 14, and they only had 4 points and no threes up on the board. I mean, I guess it's a little impressive to see them actually make some shots. And then Michigan, they lost those shot momentum. I don't know if it was because Beeline took off the main players or what, but nonetheless, Michigan hasn't made a shot in the past 3 minutes almost, and that's crucial because they haven't gotten any more points on the board and given Maryland a chance to sneak up. And yeah, they're 9 points away, but 9 points can go pretty fast in a quick basketball game, as we saw on Tuesday against Penn State. Michigan had the comeback almost, so I don't know. Michigan's got to start making their shots, and Teskey has got to start posting up. I don't know why he's not doing that. If you have any guesses, Evan, please enlighten me. Because
the only reason that I would think that he's settling for all of these jumpers instead of going inside is because of the defense of Bruno Fernando.
Yeah.
He's an excellent defender down low, but at some point you at least have to try it. And I don't know, Michigan's struggling offensively. One of their last 7 field goals, they missed their last 4. They didn't score for nearly the last 3 minutes of the half. Maryland, no field goals for the last 3:39, but did get a couple free throws. And it'll be interesting in the second half what Michigan does if they play differently through Teskey. Xavier Simpson obviously going to come back into the game, but he may deal with foul trouble throughout. Michigan led by Charles Matthews with 8, Isaiah Livers with 7. Maryland, meanwhile, Aaron Wiggins hit 2 3-pointers. He's got 6. The freshman Jalen Smith also has 6 points. So 27-18, Michigan at halftime. Closing thoughts on the first half?
Honestly, I was impressed with what I saw from both teams. Michigan in the beginning, until they started in these past 3 minutes to not be able to make their shots. And then Maryland with the comeback. I mean, obviously those timeouts that Mark Turgeon called for them were needed, and he used them to be pretty good because Maryland came back. As you said, they might have not made any field goals, but they made their free throws, which, again, is huge and something that Michigan has just, not been able to do throughout this whole season. And right now it's February. We, again, are approaching March, so there needs to be some improvement with that if Michigan wants to win and be a good contender for this March Madness tournament coming up upon us.
Here's the last one.
We will see you in about 10 minutes. I'm Evan Osley alongside Vanessa Lichard. This is Michigan basketball on WCBN Sports. Michigan leads Maryland 27-18 at halftime. See you in a little bit. Welcome back to this WCBN Sports broadcast of Michigan basketball. Michigan leads 27-18 at halftime, about 5 minutes away from getting started in the second half. Charlie Goodwin joining me now. Charlie, Michigan started out this game really well on both ends, and then finally Maryland got some offense going late in the half. What did Maryland do differently those last 5-6 minutes to get back into this game?
Well, it was only a matter of time. In the beginning, Maryland's a good team, ranked 24 in the nation right now, and I felt that in the beginning of the game they were just missing a lot of open shots. So for good teams like Maryland, it's only a matter of time before those shots start falling. Also, we saw the emergence of Aaron Wiggins, who got open on a couple threes at the end of the half to cut Maryland's deficit. Michigan's got to keep an eye on him when he's on the floor this half because he was one of the better sources of offense for the Terrapins.
At halftime, Isaiah Livers 7 points, Charles Matthews 8 points, Aaron Wiggins, as mentioned, 6 points for Maryland, Jalen Smith, the freshman, 6 points, Bruno Fernando
jumpers and had 2 atrocious shots at the foul line. Bruno Fernando, one of the best players in the country, an NBA draft prospect, could not finish down low on John Teskey. It's a good defensive battle down there, and I think both of those guys will start to put the ball in the basket this half.
Michigan shooting 38% from the field, 12 of 32, just 20% from 3 though, 3 of 15. Everybody really struggling. Jordan Poole 0 of 2 from behind the arc. Brazdakis 1 of 5. Teskey 0 of 3. Isaiah Livers 1 of 3. This team has been in a shooting funk for what seems like a couple weeks now, and John Beilein's teams always rely on their shooting.
Yeah.
How worrisome is this trend?
It is worrisome. Like, there's no way to sugarcoat it. Ever since the non-conference games in November against Villanova and North Carolina, and then the early game against Purdue, this team really hasn't been able to find a rhythm. Obviously, they've been winning games. They're 22-3, but it seems like they have to just grind out these gritty wins over teams that they should just be blowing away. They need to find their rhythm. They need to find their shot, or they won't go anywhere in March.
Some freshmen playing for longer minutes than usual for Michigan in the first half. David DeJulius and Brandon Johns. The 2 main concerns for this team have been shooting and depth. So shooting, obviously, it's either going to come or not, but Michigan really struggled to establish depth for much of this season. It's mainly been the 5 starters. Occasionally, Isaiah Livers often playing. Occasionally you get Eli Brooks. Austin Davis has fallen out of the rotation, so 6 or 7, but David DeJulius and Brandon Johns each playing some minutes in the first half. How important is it to get them into the rotation for this team?
I think this is something that has been said since before the season started, that John Beilein needs to work immediately on getting the freshmen in, and people were surprised at the beginning of the season when he didn't give Johns and DeJulius and Nunez minutes when they were blowing out these lesser programs. And I think now Beilein is realizing in the past couple games they've lost 3 of their last 8 games. He's realizing that they need to work on depth if they want to go far in March, and I think DeJulius has been a really good spark off the bench, as has Johns. But this is the first time we've seen DeJulius get extended minutes in a game, and he really seems to be having high energy on both sides of the ball.
You mentioned Adrian Nunez. Jordan Poole, talking about Nunez as a shooter, said that they have shooting competitions almost every day after practice, and Nunez almost always wins out of the entire team. So clearly a talented young shooter. When he's played, he has just looked overmatched defensively, doesn't have the size, the ball handling. But John Beilein went and got him when he had basically no high D1 offers, all low D1 and subdivisions. But this kid can really shoot. He is still not seeing the floor, even usually in garbage time, whereas at least Castleton, Johns, and DeJulius have played those minutes. But you would think that Beilein needs to extend this rotation past 6-7 guys come the tournament.
Yeah, and that all comes from the freshmen. That all starts with the freshmen. Their recruiting class is pretty highly touted coming into their freshman year, which is uncharacteristic for a John Beeline team. But it just seems that only 2 or 3 of them have gotten sparse minutes here or there. Nunez has touched the floor for maybe 10 minutes all season. And then Castleton has also gotten minimal minutes. And it seems like Johns and the Julius are kind of emerging as the freshmen that are going to play as the season continues. But you'd like to see the other 2 get in there as well.
Michigan started 3 of 7 from behind the arc. They missed their last 8 three-pointers, didn't score for nearly the last 3 minutes of the second half, 1 of their last 7 field goals. Maryland struggled offensively for about the first 15 minutes, finally got some three-pointers to go late in the half. What do you expect to see from both teams as we start the second half here?
Honestly, I expect to see more of the same of this slow play we've kind of seen. I mean, the score's only 27-18, not a very high-scoring game. I mean, Michigan has been very slow offensively in their past, I don't even know how many games it is now, in their past, I want to say 7 or so games. But they've been consistent on defense every game, which is what has allowed them to win so many of these games where they perform poorly offensively. So I think that's more the same style we're going to see in the second half.
Michigan 303rd out of 353 teams in Division I in pace. Maryland just 258th. So these are 2 teams that play slow. Both teams have excellent defenses. It looks like the first team to 50, if even 50, is going to win this game.
Yeah, I'm really not sure if they're going to make 50 just looking at the box score now. And I think you're definitely right that if a team does hit 50 first, they're winning this game.
Starters back out there for the Wolverines. Xavier Simpson sat the last 6.5 minutes after picking up his second foul per the John Beeline auto bench policy. So it's Xavier Simpson, Jordan Poole, Charles Matthews, Ignis Brazdakis, and John Teskey for the Wolverines. Starters also back out for Maryland: Anthony Cohen, Eric Ayala, Daryl Morsel, Bruno Fernando, and Jalen Smith. As we get ready to start the second half here at Chrysler, Xavier Simpson bringing the ball up for the Wolverines. Gives to Charles Matthews. Matthews to Simpson. Simpson looking for Teskey down low. Gonna give it to Poole up top. Poole drives in, beats Morsel to the basket, was fouled, and he'll go to the line for 2.
And obviously free throw shooting, probably the weakest aspect of this Wolverines team. Have not made a free throw today. Jordan Poole is one of their best shooters, free throw shooters, if not their best. Let's see if he can get it done here.
Poole's first free throw goes. That's the first make for the Wolverines. They were 0 of 2 in the first half, the 2 that John Teskey shot, as you mentioned. 28-18, lead back to double digits. Poole's second free throw also good, so 29-18, good start to the half for Michigan.
Very rare you see Jordan Poole miss free throws.
He has struggled with his jump shot recently, but free throws have been very consistent for him, around 90% on the season. Teskey, good defense against Fernando, but Fernando finally gets his first points of the game. He was 0-4 in the first half. 2 points there. It's 29-20 now, 19-20 to go in the second half. Matthews on the wing, gives to Teskey. Teskey to Simpson in the corner. Simpson up top to Matthews. Brazdakis thought about taking a long three-pointer, did not. Now he will take a three-pointer. No good there, but Matthews, the offensive rebound, throws it back up top to Xavier Simpson. Quickly to Poole. Poole across to Matthews, open for 3. No good. Rebound by Morsel. Cohen back the other way, and Maryland will set up their offense. Morsel, excuse me, that's Eric Ayala. Up top now, gives to Morsel. Now Fernando down low against Teskey. Stolen away by Teskey. Brazdakis came up with it. Matthews in transition off the feet from Brazdakis. Charles Matthews, another transition dunk. He has 10. Michigan leads by 11.
I think we've really seen the passing aspect of Brazdakis this game emerge a little bit right here. He hasn't been known for dishing the rock, but he has 3 assists today, and he's doing it well.
Brazdakis, a couple good assists to Matthews in transition as Cohen takes the three-pointer and makes the three-pointer. It's 31-23. 18 to go in the second half. Now cuts the lead to 8. Simpson bringing it up, working against Ayala, gives to Teskey up top. John Teskey back to Simpson on the left wing. Now Simpson crosses in, drives, good pass to Teskey, and John Teskey gets his first points of the game. Lead back to 10, easy slam, and Bruno Fernando just got lost on defense.
And while Xavier Simpson is not the most talented player in college basketball, he has a way of hypnotizing the defense and lulling them to sleep before he can dish the perfect pass.
Simpson working against Cohen. Poole working against Morsel defensively. Now Cohen takes another three-pointer. Anthony Cohen in Maryland late in the first half and now the start of the second half hitting some three-pointers. That's now 4 threes for the Terps. Anthony Cohen cuts the lead to 7. Simpson to Teskey. Now Brazdakis. Simpson. Simpson drives in. Floater, no good. Teskey got a hand on it, and Matthews does come up with it. Another offensive board for Michigan. Brazdakis grabbed it, was fouled on the floor by Morsel, and so it'll stay with Michigan.
Michigan's grabbed quite a lot of offensive rebounds today, mainly Charles Matthews getting up there, grabbing the board and taking it back out to reset. You'd like to see that effort. Offensive rebounds turn out to be a really pivotal part of the game that no one really talks about. They almost pretty much decided the game against Penn State on Tuesday, that ugly loss. But Penn State just outworked Michigan on the offensive boards, and that was the difference maker.
Michigan 5 offensive rebounds in this game. Charles Matthews has 3 of them. Brazdakis open off the feed from Simpson off the out-of-bounds play, and Ignas Brazdakis hits a three-pointer. Big answer for Michigan. Lead back to 10, 36-26. Simpson picks up Ayala at half court. He'll give to Cohen. Aaron Wiggins in the game. Lob up. Bruno Fernando finishes the alley-oop. What a lob. What a finish by the big man, Bruno Fernando. The projected lottery pick went up and got it and slammed it down hard.
Wow. That was a man's jam.
Simpson back to Teskey. Charles Matthews working on the wing. Gets a screen from Teskey. Drives in. Reverse jumper in the lane. Charles Matthews, that's his shot. He's been great today. 12 points, 6 of 8 from the field. And now the offense is kind of waking up here in the second half, going back and forth. We're under 16 now, 38-28. Jalen Smith to Ayala, to Fernando. Fernando, quick double team from Simpson. Now he gets back out to Ayala. Under 10 on the shot clock now. Fernando gets it with 5 on the shot clock, drives in, and Bruno Fernando, no points in the first half, but 6 here right away in the second half. He's hit his first 3 shots, lead back down to 8, 38-30.
He's just taking it inside against John Teskey, and Teskey's playing good defense. Nothing you could do about putting it up over his large wingspan and getting in the basket.
Teskey to Simpson. Teskey gets it back from Simpson, can't finish the layup inside. So closing in on the 15-minute mark, 38-30. Maryland has a chance to cut this to a 2-possession game here. Cohen working against Charles Matthews. Gets a screen. Cohen up to Jalen Smith. Feeds it inside to Fernando. They're going to call a foul on Teskey on the entry pass. So it'll be Maryland ball underneath when we come back. 38-30, 14:58 to go in the second half. Both offenses waking up, but Bruno Fernando finally getting involved in this game.
Yeah, it was only a matter of time. Fernando is a NBA lottery prospect this upcoming draft. Someone with that much talent really doesn't stay complacent the entire game. They get their points one way or another. It looks like that's how Bruno Fernando is going to do it in this half.
Maryland had 18 points in the entire first half. They have 12 points in the first 5 minutes of the second half. Mark Turgeon made some phenomenal halftime adjustments on Tuesday night against Purdue. They were trailed 38-30 at halftime. They outscored Purdue 40-18 at home in the second half. John Beilein also great at halftime adjustments, so it's going to be a chess match the rest of the way. Both of these coaches, great basketball minds, offense and defense. They've got great staffs, but if anybody thought that Maryland was just going to lay down and die when they were down 15 in the first half, that is not who Mark Turgeon is. That's not the identity of the Maryland basketball program. Michigan really has to stay awake here.
Yeah, and one of the things I really want to talk about with this team is the emergence of no, not the emergence, but just the increase in leadership that Charles Matthews has taken the past couple games. Single-handedly won the team the game against Wisconsin here last week, scoring 16 of his 18 in the second half. He seems to be taking control here, grabbing offensive boards and putting in that fadeaway shot. You just, as someone who should be the leader of this team, you like to see him actually taking that role more than he did in the beginning of the season.
Matthews, excellent, as you said. He had 16 points in the second half, many of those coming in the last 5 minutes. A lot of big mid-range jumpers. He's carried that into the day. 12 points, 6 of 8 from the field, 5 rebounds, 3 of those rebounds coming on the offensive end. Also, obviously, an excellent defender. He's been guarding Anthony Cohen and Aaron Wiggins for much of the game, who have both scored points, but he is so strong defensively, along with Xavier Simpson, along with John Teskey. That's the heart of this Michigan team, is their defense, their effort, and it's these 3 guys that lead that charge. Yeah,
those 3 have definitely been the most consistent players on this team, with Jordan Poole's recent shooting slump and Iggy Brazdeikis' recent shooting slumps. That's exactly what you said, that defense is the identity of this Michigan team. Whenever someone is slacking on the offensive end, they always make up for it in their defense. John Beilein teams do not get complacent. They don't give up on one end because they're not performing on the other end. And that's what allows you to go far in the tournament and in March Madness. It would be nice if they could find that shooting touch again, but as long as they keep things up on the defensive side, they should be okay.
38-30, 14:58 to go. Under 6 media timeout wrapping up. Anthony Cohen, 8 points for Maryland. He's hit 2 3-pointers early in the second half. Maryland now 4 of 9 from behind the arc. They started 0 of 5, and all of a sudden the 3-pointers starting to fall. 2 at the end of the first half for Aaron Wiggins, 2 at the beginning of the second half for Anthony Cohen. And Michigan 4 of 18 from 3. Brazdeikis finally hit one, but they had missed 9 3-pointers in a row since they started 3 of 7. It'll be 20 seconds on the shot clock for Maryland. Brandon Johns into the game for the Wolverines for John Teskey. Ayala to Cohen. And they're going to call a foul on Brandon Johns right away. He was trying to deny ball from Fernando, but too much contact.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Brandon Johns has the size yet to compete with Bruno Fernando. Although he may be more athletic than John Teskey, Teskey's just a much bigger individual than Johns is.
Cohen inbounds to Ayala. Ayala drives in, kicks back out now to Wiggins. Now Cohen looking to feed in to Fernando. Working against Johns, goes baseline, Fernando, and they're going to call a foul on Ignas Brazdeikis. It looked like Fernando just juggled the ball in the air, but he's going to shoot 2 on that one.
And you see John Teskey going to the scorer's table right now because it's apparent in just one possession that this defensive matchup is not going to work.
Yeah, Brandon Johns struggling right away with Bruno Fernando. They're going to call a foul on the floor, not shooting on Brazdeikis. So Maryland ball back underneath again in what's turning into a pretty long possession for the Terps. Cohen inbounds to Fernando. Ayala has it up top, back to Cohen. Working against Simpson. Fernando gets the ball down again on the baseline. Working against Teskey on the block. And Bruno Fernando, 8 points now all in the second half. He's hit his first 4 shots in the second half, and he is really coming alive. Now a 6-point lead. Maryland within 2 possessions.
Nothing you can do about that. I mean, he's making great moves to the basket. Teskey staying straight up, not getting the foul. That's all you could ask for.
Brazdeikis, contested shot inside, no good. Maryland back the other way. A 3 would cut it to 1 possession. Anthony Cohen thought about it. Now Bruno Fernando kicks back out, and Maryland will reset with 20 seconds on the shot clock. We are under 14 minutes, 38-32. Isaiah Livers heading to the scorer's table for Michigan. Cohen driving in, kicks out. Ayala for 3, in and out. Poole grabs the rebound quickly back the other way. Poole to Brazdeikis, and they're going to call a blocking foul as Brazdeikis drove in. He had Matthews wide open on the outside, did not kick it out, did draw the foul, so Michigan ball.
And that's exactly what I was talking about with the passing aspect of Brazdeikis' game. he just wavered back to what we've seen more during most of the season, which is trying to take it inside against 2 or 3 defenders instead of finding the open man. He has to get better at putting his head up when he's got the ball instead of just driving like a bull to the basket.
Michigan has not scored in 2.5 minutes. Matthews gets the ball off the inbound, gets a screen from Teskey. Matthews, Simpson in the corner, thought about shooting, did not. Simpson goes baseline, now kicks back out. Teskey for 3, no good. John Teskey really fighting his jumper today. Rebound to Maryland, back the other way. Under 13.5 to go now. Here comes Anthony Cohen. Ayala working against Simpson. This crowd trying to energize these Wolverines. They've struggled to start the second half defensively. Pass inside to Jalen Smith, working against Matthews. Turnaround, layup, no good. Battle for the rebound. They're going to call an over-the-back foul on Jalen Smith. He doesn't like the call, but he did jump on the back of Charles Matthews, so Michigan ball back the other way.
And once again, we see the Charles Matthews leadership aspect right here. He's not being lazy at all on the boards. He's boxing out, and he's drawing the foul.
Poole inbounds to Simpson. He'll bring it up. 13 minutes left in the game. Michigan leads 38-32. Crowd really trying to get this Wolverines team going. Maryland already scored 14 points in the second half. Poole working against Cohen. Drives in. Good move from Jordan Poole. What a finish! Jordan Poole gathers. Strong layup with the left hand. Michigan back up 8. Ayala working against Xavier Simpson. Nearly lost it. Tough defense from Simpson. Maryland trying to set up some offense. Cohen gets it in the corner, loses it out of bounds, and here comes the Michigan defense. They've stepped it up the last few possessions after a hot start from Maryland.
Yeah, Michigan seems to have gained a bit of momentum here with that incredible Jordan Poole finish on the last possession, and then Charles Matthews forcing a turnover. On the other end, let's hope they can keep this energy up.
Ricky Lindo and Sorrell Smith checking in for Eric Ayala and Jalen Smith. So Mark Turgeon going to his bench. Xavier Simpson will bring it up. 40-32, 12:20 to go in the second half. Simpson gives to Livers. Livers working up top, now gives to Matthews. Matthews in the lane. Matthews turnaround jumper, in and out, nearly got it to go. Cohen comes up with the rebound for Maryland. Cohen tried to feed it inside to Fernando, could not. Smith gives inside, and the finish. Lindo drove all the way in. So 40-34. That was Wiggins, not Lindo, excuse me. Back to 6. We're under 12 now, 11:40 to go.
Good job by John Teskey not committing the foul there, though. That's usually called almost every time.
Simpson, good behind the back move to keep the ball. Now swings it to Matthews, swings to Poole in the corner. Poole, spin move. Fade away, no good. It was a shooting foul on Cohen, so Jordan Poole will shoot 2, but that is the under 12 media timeout. 40-34, 11:25 to go. Maryland has cut the lead to 6. They scored just 18 points in the first half, 16 already as we hit the under 12 here. Mark Turgeon's halftime adjustments definitely effective so far.
Yeah, they've definitely been effective as Maryland has cut this double-digit deficit to just 6 points. But at the same time, the Michigan defense doesn't look bad. It's not like Maryland's cutting to the basket and getting wide-open dunks. Michigan's holding their ground, and Maryland's just hitting their shots, and that's the way it goes, especially when you play a nationally ranked team like the Maryland Terrapins.
Maryland ranked 24th in the country, Michigan number 6, but likely to fall after the Penn State loss on Tuesday night, regardless of what happens today.
Can we please not talk about that?
I know that you have a friend, or if you want to call him that goes to Penn State. An acquaintance that goes to Penn State. So what have the conversations been like for the last 4 days?
I don't know if I could say any of it on the radio, but it was ugly and caught a lot of flack for it, being that we've smacked them in every other sport we've played them in this season, including an earlier win in basketball. And I mean, at the end of the day, I'm going to hold my head high because we'll be playing in March, and they won't.
They will not be playing in March. That was
Well, they'll be playing in the NIT.
I don't know if they'll even make the NIT. They have only 2 conference wins. It's a tough conference.
I don't know. They're a very interesting team because though they're at the bottom of the Big Ten and have really been not good result-wise, like they're definitely they have talented players.
They are much stronger than their record says. I mean, they're just 9-15. They've got 2 Big Ten wins, but they're 59th in the KenPom rankings, which would make you think the top half Big Ten team, talent-wise, it just doesn't come together. A lot of close losses for Penn State this season.
And then if their star from last year, Tony Carr, had stayed, this would be a legitimate team. Obviously, Tony Carr was, I believe, a sophomore last year.
He was, yes.
Made the decision to go to the NBA, but signed with an agent, unlike Charles Matthews, who obviously returned to Michigan, and now he's in the G League, I believe. So it didn't really work out that well for him. This Penn State team would be a legitimate threat had Tony Carr still been there this year.
Penn State, a tough team to play, but still doesn't excuse the way Michigan played on Tuesday night. Michigan has recovered well today, but
obviously they're a very coach-heavy team, similar to like a football team, and not having John Beilein after he got thrown out for that ridiculous technical on Tuesday really hurt them, and they came so close without having effectively their captain steering the ship.
They cut the lead down, similar to what happened against Iowa mid-second half. They finally got it back down to single digits, had some shots to make it a 1-possession game, had some good opportunities, but Penn State gathered themselves and the last 7-8 minutes of the game controlled it. And
well, they almost came back. Down like 9 with 2 minutes left. We almost came back.
Got down to 4 with about 30 seconds left.
And Jordan Poole missed a wide open 3.
Jordan Poole has really been fighting his shot recently.
But what I like about Poole is although his outside shot's not really falling right now, he's trying to find different ways to score, such as going to the basket we saw in that last one, or maybe moving a little closer to mid-range until he gets more comfortable with the outside shot again.
2 free throws here for Poole. He's still very consistent from the free throw line. Good on the first. He made 2 earlier in the half. It's Simpson, Poole, Matthews, Livers, and Teskey for the Wolverines. Cohen, Wiggins, Smith, Lindo, and Fernando from Maryland. Poole, second free throw, up and good as well. 4-4 from the free throw line for Jordan Poole in the second half. Lead back to 8, 42-34.
Now Maryland rolls the ball across the floor to save time. A little early. It seems a little early in the half to do that.
Cohen. Maryland feeds it inside to Fernando. Tough shot, but that Jalen Smith gets his own rebound, and they're going to call a foul on John Teskey. Oh, that is Fernando, that was not Jalen Smith. Fernando battling down low. That's 3 on John Teskey now, so something to watch. 11-10 to go, and close there. It looked like Teskey did get some arm. Definitely got the ball too, but 3 on John Teskey.
I think we're definitely going to see Austin Davis come in here. Although not super talented, he does have the big body to defend someone like Fernando, much like we saw in the Big Ten tournament last year when he was tasked with guarding Isaac Haas when Teskey got in foul trouble.
Fernando, good on both free throws, cuts the lead back down to 6, 42-36. Davis has not yet played today. It's been all Brandon Johns in for John Teskey, but Johns has struggled defensively, so if the foul trouble continues for Teskey, we could see Beilein go to Davis. Simpson working against Bruno Fernando. Got the speed mismatch, kicks it out to Poole, nearly lost it out of bounds. Poole going to reset. 10 on the shot clock. Poole step back 3-pointer. No good. Once again, Jordan Poole 0 of 3 from behind the arc. That one in and out again. So a 6-point game. Maryland once again has a chance to cut it to 1 possession with a 3-pointer. Cohen setting up the offense. Gets a screen from Lindo. Lindo trying to feed it down low to Fernando. He's been excellent in the second half. Quick double team from Livers. Cross-court pass to Saren Smith, and Saren Smith does cut it to a 1-possession game. It's 42-39 now, and all of a sudden, Maryland right in this. Crowd trying to motivate this Wolverines team again. Eli Brooks is going to check in.
The Wolverines got to find something out on the offensive side because they are not scoring anything right now.
Matthews swings it to Simpson in the corner. 10 on the shot clock now. Xavier Simpson driving in, kicks it out. Teskey for three. No good again. Maryland with a chance to cut to one or tie the game with the three-pointer. Cohen bringing it up for Maryland. Working against Xavier Simpson. 9:40 to go in the second half. 42-39. Wiggins trying to get it to Fernando. Could not. Back up top to Cohen. Wiggins now does get it to Fernando. Double team comes from Livers. Knocked away from Fernando, but Cohen gets it. Chance of tying, no good. Livers with the rebound. Pull back the other way. Does not have numbers. Drives it himself. Lay-in is good. Jordan Poole in transition. Lead back to 5, and Michigan really needed that one.
And that's Jordan Poole finding other ways to score, making quick moves and cuts to the basket in order to put it in, not relying on his three-point shot there.
Fernando gives to Wiggins. Wiggins nearly lost it. Now down low to Fernando. Simpson comes with the double team. Good pass inside to Wiggins. Layup no good. Livers comes up with it. Here comes Xavier Simpson. Simpson working against Teskey. Simpson's going to fire for three. He made one earlier and he makes it again. Xavier Simpson, 2 of 2 from behind the arc. Lead back to 8. Here comes the crowd, 47-39. Mark Turgeon wants a timeout. He is frustrated. This team finally cut the lead down to 3, and Michigan responded in a big way. 47-39, 8:41 to go in the second half.
And like you said, what a response. Just when it seems all hope is lost, the Wolverines come down and score on 2 straight possessions. And the unlikeliest of people would hit a 3, Xavier Simpson, straight swooshing that last shot. It doesn't look pretty, but all it needs to do is go in.
Simpson 2 of 2 from behind the arc today. A Poole layup in transition and a Simpson three-pointer sends the lead back to 8. An absolute momentum killer for Maryland, who had it down to a 1-possession game for the first time since literally 2 minutes into the game. Tough for Mark Turgeon's group right there, but what a big response from these guards from Michigan to get stops and then go back and make shots on the other end when they were struggling.
Yeah, and Xavier Simpson, I mean, I guess you wouldn't really call it a shooting slump because he's not really a great shooter to begin with, but he was, I believe, 0 for 5 from 3 against Penn State. Correct me if I'm wrong, but sometimes he just keeps throwing them up to no avail, so it's nice to see him hit a couple here, especially in this big moment in the game.
Xavier Simpson, 8 points, 2 rebounds, 5 assists. Isaiah Livers, 7 points, 4 rebounds. Brazdeikis, 8 points. He's just 3 of 10 from the field, but also 5 rebounds. Bruno Fernando, how about what he's done in the second half? He's got 10, all coming in the second half, also 5 rebounds. He really struggled against John Teskey in the first half, but he came out and decided he was not going to be shut out in this game, and he is answered in a big way.
Yeah, he's really talented. He just seems like to me, he seems like a more athletic Ethan Happ. Ethan Happ a little more skilled on the inside moves, but he just gets it done down low. Obviously a draft prospect, but if he decides to stay at Maryland, this team has a good future. Fernando is a sophomore. 2 other starters, Jalen Smith and Eric Ayala, are freshmen. And then I'm blanking on his name
Cohen's a junior.
Darryl Morsell as well, a sophomore. So 4 of the 5 starters are underclassmen, and if Fernando chooses to stay, this team could be good for the coming years.
Both Michigan and Maryland young teams. You mentioned Fernando, kind of a more athletic Happ, and Happ is definitely more skilled, but Happ, he's a senior at Wisconsin. Fernando, just a sophomore, and he's an excellent player. You would think
yes.
2 more years of basketball, regardless of if it's at Maryland or more than likely in the NBA, he's going to continue to improve. He's a really skilled big man. The jumper's not quite there yet. Some of the ball handling and passing not quite there yet, but those are things that you can teach an athletic 6'10" big man, and he's got a future playing professional basketball.
Yeah, and especially with the weaker draft class in this upcoming draft, you see almost no way someone as talented as Fernando stays for his junior year. Obviously, you have the generational talent, Zion Williamson, a couple other standouts like R.J. Barrett and John Morant, but past the top 5, this draft does not have much, so it would be a smart move for Fernando to leave Maryland after this season.
Michigan's had guys on and off draft boards, Brazdakis, Poole, Matthews. They've all been great at points in the season, struggled at other points. All likely second-round picks as of right now, but that could change based on what happens in March. Maryland gets going here. Cohen gets doubled by Matthews and Livers. Wiggins driving, had it stripped away, but they're going to call a foul on Eli Brooks. Cohen, Wiggins, Smith, Lindo, and Jalen Smith for Maryland. So Bruno Fernando going to take a break for a couple minutes. Matthews, Simpson, Livers, Brazdakis, and Brooks for Michigan.
And the points of the game where Bruno Fernando is out is the points where Michigan has to capitalize.
Saren Smith, mid-range jumper, no good. Battle for the rebound. Simpson comes up with it underneath. 8:15 to go, 47-39, Michigan leads.
Fernando and Ayala getting set to come back in as well.
Livers sets a screen for Simpson. Simpson drives in, kicks out. Matthews drives in, mid-range jumper, pulls up, no good. Cohen back the other way, working against Eli Brooks. Good defense from the Wolverines. Wiggins, a three-pointer, no good. That was an air ball. It looked like it went off Brazdakis. It did, so it'll stay with Maryland. 7:45 to go. That's the under 8 media timeout. So 47-39 at the under 8. An air ball there from Aaron Wiggins, but it'll stay with Maryland, and some empty possessions from both teams out of the timeout.
Yeah. Neither team is scoring much right now, but as long as Michigan can keep it up on the defensive end like they have been most of the game, that's really all that matters. They need to just stay calm for the next 8 minutes and grind out a win.
Maryland has missed their last 4 field goals since cutting it to a 3-point game. They haven't scored in 2:36. Big response from Michigan, but they did cut it to 3 behind some good 3-point shooting. Maryland now 5 of 13 from behind the arc. Michigan, meanwhile, 5 of 22. They have really struggled as a team to shoot the basketball, but the 3-pointers have been big when they did come. Maryland also has 15 turnovers, which is probably what Mark Turgeon's going to point to in the post-game press conference. Regardless of what happens in talking about this game, you just cannot turn the ball over that much against a team that's so sound defensively, so sound offensively, like John Beilein's Wolverines.
Yeah, the guards have been able to just get the better of the Terp guards and come away with a lot of steals here in this game.
Michigan 12 points off turnovers. Maryland is winning the rebound battle 30-25, each team with 5 offensive rebounds. Michigan has turned that into 8 second chance points. Just 9 points off the bench for the Wolverines. We have not seen the freshman backups, DeJulius and John. Johns came in for just a couple possessions and struggled. DeJulius not at all. It's been Eli Brooks instead.
And like I said before, offensive rebounds are such an underrated part of basketball. A lot of times, if you look at the box score, they do decide the winner because they come as a product of hard work and often lead to second chance points. So it's much more important to win the offensive rebound battle than people make it out to be.
You can often point to offensive rebounds and turnovers because that's what creates extra shots in a game. And sometimes teams are just too good for their opponents outmatched. But when you have a game like this with 2 really talented, really good teams, that's a big thing. That Maryland has 9 more turnovers. Both teams have had offensive rebounds, with Michigan creating more second chance points. You can easily point to that as the difference in this one.
When 2 talented teams clash, hard work is always going to win. When Michigan will play a lesser program, maybe like Norfolk State, and if Norfolk State outworks them, the disparity in talent is often too large for Norfolk State to come away with a win. But when 2 talented teams clash, hard work almost always wins.
Getting ready to get going here. 7:45 to go. Michigan leads 47-39. Charles Matthews with a game-high 12 points. He also has 5 rebounds. Bruno Fernando leading Maryland with 10 points.
All in this half.
Lindo has 7 rebounds for the Terps. Eric Ayala, the starter, has been held scoreless. He has no points, 0 of 5 from the field. John Teske just 2 points. 1 of 9 from the field, 0 of 5 from behind the arc. He does have 3 rebounds, but not a great day for Teske. He was excellent defensively in the first half. He struggled defensively and offensively in the second half. Maryland gets it going here. Quick inbound and the three-pointer for Wiggins. He airballed the last one, but he hits that. Back down to 5, 47-42, 7.5 to go.
He's a lethal shooter. You got to watch out for him. I believe he's 3 of 4 on his threes right now.
Simpson gives to Brazdakis. Brazdakis works it inside, kicks out to Matthews, nearly lost it, gets it back. Feeds to Teske. Matthews cuts to the basket. Pass from Teske, kicks out to Teske for 3 again. No good again. John Teske, 0 of 6 from behind the arc, 1 of 10 from the field.
He's got to take a break from the threes right now. He just does not have them today, and he's got to get back to more of his bread and butter inside.
Jordan Poole going to check back in for the Wolverines. They had not great spacing on that last offensive possession with Livers, Matthews, Brazdakis, and Teske all out there. Cohen drives in, beats Simpson in the basket, but he missed the easy layup. Tough miss for Anthony Cohen. Would have cut it back down to 1 possession. Simpson feeds to Brazdakis, wide open for 3. Ignas Brazdakis, huge 3 in transition for the Wolverines, 50-42.
And Brazdakis, someone who's been in one of the shooting slumps for the Wolverines, has seemed to come out of his shell a little bit here, hitting a couple threes in big moments down the stretch.
Matthews working up top against Ayala. Gives to Cohen. Ayala. Screen from Fernando. Ayala hands to Jalen Smith. Smith lost it on the ground. Brazdakis goes to the ground. Smith also goes to the ground, comes back up with it. Cohen late in the shot clock. Deep three-pointer, no good. Maryland the offensive rebound. Wiggins blocked by Teske, and Xavier Simpson does come up with it. Great defensive possession for the Wolverines. Simpson fires ahead, delivers in the corner open. No good. Would have set this place on fire. The crowd is ready to erupt now. Quick transition, 3 back the other way for Wiggins. No good. Battle for the rebound. Fernando grabs it from Livers. Fernando inside and gets the 2, cuts it back down to 6. A wild sequence right there.
Yeah, Fernando just got the entire team on 2 pump fakes. Again, he's just getting it done inside. Michigan really had a chance to have a hypothetical dagger right there, but Livers could not get it to go down.
6-point game, 5.5 to go. Isaiah Livers gives to Charles Matthews. Matthews, turnaround mid-range jumper again. That's well short. So Maryland ball back the other way, 50-42. 5:15 to go. Lob up, Jalen Smith can't finish at the rim. Jalen Smith comes up with it. He was over the back on Xavier Simpson. Jalen Smith not happy with the foul call, but they're going to call an offensive foul on Jalen Smith on the rebound. So it'll be Michigan ball back the other way, 5:12 to go, 50-44.
And that right there is one of my favorite aspects of Xavier Simpson's game. His work ethic and his grit. The little man, he's barely 6 feet, getting it in there under the basket against the 6'10 Smith. He's not afraid to go up against anyone, no matter how big they are.
Simpson. Screen from Teske. Simpson drives in, kicks back out to Poole, swings it to Matthews in the corner. Matthews drives in, good feed to Teske. John Teske finishes at the rim, just his second made field goal of the game, but a big one right there, pushes it back to 8.
That was beautiful ball movement by the Wolverines. Both Poole and Matthews had a chance to take a 3, but passed up that option for the better look inside for Teske.
Just over 4.5 to go, 52-44. Wiggins, Cohen, a long three-pointer, no good. Another offensive rebound. Ayala comes up with it, no good again. Tipped out, and another offensive rebound for Maryland. Cohen again for 3, no good again. And Michigan finally comes up with it. Xavier Simpson back the other way. Simpson drives in transition, feeds to Teske, wide open for the win. He dunks that one once again. Xavier Simpson. Great play in transition. It's back to 10, 54-44, 4 minutes to go.
And that's Xavier Simpson just hypnotizing the defense, boring them to sleep, making them totally unaware of the cutting John Teske down low.
Here comes the crowd. They can feel it now. Fernando doubled down low, kicks it out. Ayala swinging it to Wiggins, to Cohen, to Wiggins. Contested three-pointer, no good. Rebound Fernando. Swings it out, wide open is Cohen, another three-pointer, no good again, and the follow, another offensive rebound for Wiggins. He makes that layup.
The Wolverines are just getting absolutely outworked on the offensive boards. The Terrapins have gotten probably 5 offensive boards just in the last 2 possessions. They need to do better if they want to close out this game in the final minutes.
54-46, 3:20 to go. Simpson back to Teske. Another three-point attempt. Teske finally hits. John Teske, he misses for 6 3-pointers, but he makes the biggest one of the day, pushes the lead to 11.
It finally had to go down. It was only a matter of time before Teske put one in, and this crowd has now erupted.
3 minutes to go, 57-46. Ayala to Fernando. Gives to Cohen. Maryland has to go quickly. Swings it into the corner. Drive in by Wiggins. No good on the layup, but a foul call comes. It'll go against John Teske. That's his 4th, so 2:47 to go. Wiggins will shoot 2 when we come back from the under 4 media timeout. 57-46, 2:47 to go.
I'm with John Teske picking up his 4th foul there. I'm not exactly sure what I would do. It's a little too late in the game to bench him because there's not really a reason this game should go to overtime. Knock on wood. But also with 4 fouls, he is just 1 away from fouling out. So I don't really expect Beeline to go to Johns here because he was clearly just incapable of guarding Bruno Fernando. But I would not be surprised if maybe Austin Davis came out to finish out this game.
Great stretch from Michigan. They've made their last 3 shots. Maryland just 1 of their last 7 shots. Michigan clinging to an 11-point lead right now. It's been a back and forth half. Maryland has cut it down to 3, cut it down to 5, but Michigan has responded every time, and most recently with a huge John Teske 3. He's just 4 of 13 from the field, 1 of 7 from 3-point range on the day. But how about in the biggest moment, John Teske coming up with a 3-pointer. He's scored 7 points in the last 4 minutes of this game.
That last 3 was clutch. There's no other way to describe it. He went back to his usual ways of scoring, getting open by cutting to the basket and just slamming it down with that big 7-foot frame. But his 3-point shooting has massively improved this season. So he felt like it was only a matter of time before one went down. And although he is 1 for 6 from 3, that shot comes at a really crucial point in the game and might be the difference maker.
Bruno Fernando, 12 points all in the second half. Maryland had about 5 open looks from 3 on those 2 possessions. As you said, they just kept getting offensive rebounds and could not get a 3-pointer to fall. Tough for them. Some great looks for Cohen, for Wiggins, for Ayala. And if any one of those had gone down, it would have made it a 5-point game at that point. But as it stands, Michigan by 11, 2:47 to go. 2 free throws coming up for Aaron Wiggins. 4 fouls for John Teske. Johns also has 3 fouls in just 4 minutes. No real foul trouble for Maryland. 3 for Smith and 3 for Morsell, but they should be fine. John Teske really the only player in danger of fouling out of the game at the moment as the under 4 media timeout wraps up. Both teams now in the bonus, 6 fouls on each side, so it'll be 1-and-1s from here on out.
There's really no reason that Michigan should lose hold of this game as long as they don't even have to really be that great offensively anymore. As long as they just buckle down on defense for these next 2 minutes 40 seconds, there's no reason they shouldn't come out in the win column.
So Livers is going to stay in the game along with Bresdakis. Teske will sit on the bench with 4 fouls, at least for the moment. They're out there along with Poole, Matthews, and Simpson. Maryland keeps the same 5. It's Cohen, Ayala, Wiggins, Smith, and Fernando. Wiggins' first free throw is good. That cuts it to 10, so 57-47. 1 more free throw for Wiggins coming up.
And it looks like Isaiah Livers is set to guard Bruno Fernando here. Not nearly as big as John Teske, but a really good defender and really strong as well. So we'll see how this goes.
Both good from Wiggins. Maryland setting up a full court press here. Poole going to take it out. Inbounds it to Simpson. Trap right away, but he gets it to Poole. Poole brings it up. And Michigan going to sit on this and use some clock here. 2:35 to go, 57-48. Simpson drives in. The hook shot, and Xavier Simpson. That famous sky hook that he brought in around mid-season. It goes again here, back to 11.
Insanely clutch shot from Xavier Simpson right there. His signature sky hook getting it done.
Wiggins, Fernando. Maryland needs to go faster than this. They still trail by 11, closing in on 2 minutes to go. Ayala, Cohen with 10 on the shot clock. Cohen drives in, feet underneath. Good pass to Jalen Smith. So Maryland will set up the press once again. Poole looking for somewhere to go with it. Gets it into Matthews, trapped in the corner. Finds Poole. Finds Simpson. And he's going to be fouled right away. They'll send Simpson to the line for a 1-and-1 after the foul by Anthony Cohen. That's his second.
Yeah, now I think we're going to see Maryland take out the hack-a-shack strategy, except it's on a 6-foot point guard. Xavier Simpson is known for not shooting free throws that well. Teams tend to foul him late in the game because he tends to miss. So let's see if he could get it done here.
Simpson on the 1-and-1. First one goes. It's back to 10. 60-50. 1:53 to go. Simpson shoot the back end of a 1-and-1 here now. Xavier Simpson's free throw is good. He hits both. Clutch free throws from Xavier Simpson. 61-50. 1:53 left.
You know, it's very interesting because it seems like Simpson shoots the worst when the team has like a 20-point lead. When he needs to hit them in like crunch time, they seem to go down, which is like the reverse for almost every basketball player.
Jalen Smith threw it away. He was trying to get it to Fernando down low. Poole crosses half court. 1.5 minutes to go. Michigan leads by 11. Maryland not fouling for the moment. Ayala stepping up. Xavier Simpson 15 on the shot clock. He's going to take this all the way down. 10 on the shot clock now, 1:20 to go. Simpson gets a screen from Livers. Simpson swings it back to Livers. Pass inside. No, Brazdakis comes up with it. 3 on the shot clock. Goes to the rim. He is fouled with 2 seconds on the shot clock by Jalen Smith. Brazdakis will shoot 2 free throws. 1:12 to go. Michigan leads by 11.
And Brazdakis has the chance to ice the game right here for good and get Michigan back to winning ways.
Saren Smith going to check into the game for Maryland. Brazdakis' first free throw goes. It's up to a 12-point lead. Big free throws from Xavier Simpson and Ignas Brazdakis here late. Jalen Smith going to come out of the game. Maryland getting all their shooters out there. They're going to have to go fast and take jump shots from here on out. Brazdakis made the first. Makes them both. Clutch free throws from the Wolverines. Timeout Michigan. John Beilein going to tell his guys, stay calm, don't make mistakes, don't foul shooters. 63-50, 1:12 to go. Michigan in full control.
Yeah, those free throws should really do it for the Wolverines. It's nice to see that aspect of the game has been better in crunch time when you really need them, because last year every late game free throw would just be an absolute heart attack. They could not make any of them, and now it's nice to see that they've been a little more clutch on that facet of their game.
Michigan only shot 2 free throws in the first half. John Teske missed both of those, but as a team, 8 of 8 from the line in the second half. And Maryland cut the lead to 3, but a massive response by Michigan in the last 7 minutes of this game. And it looks like they are going to get win number 23 on the season. A great response from Tuesday night with a bad loss to Penn State. Michigan has made their last 4 field goals. Maryland has struggled offensively here down the stretch, forcing some shots, going late in the shot clock. Ayala brings it up, swings it to Cohen. Cohen trying to get a jumper. He's going to drive to the basket. Gets an easy 2, but Michigan probably okay with that. Poole gets it into Simpson. Simpson finds Brazdakis. Brazdakis finds Matthews, and Matthews is going to hold it now up top to Brazdakis. Maryland does have to foul. Knocked out of bounds by Wiggins. It'll stay with Michigan. 47.7 to go. Michigan by 11.
And my favorite thing about this team is that some of their best games have come after losses, which is good to see right now, is that they're rebounding and regrouping, but it gets to a point of the season where when you lose, there's no game to rebound from.
Maryland is not going to foul, so Xavier Simpson's going to take this all the way down. 5 on the shot clock. Simpson drives in, layup blocked. Matthews comes up with it, 2 on the shot clock. Matthews turn around and he hits it. The dagger from Charles Matthews pushes it to 13, 65-52, 27 and a half to go. Cohen will bring it up.
That should do it here at Chrysler.
Cohen was contested, deep 3 by Ayala, no good. Poole comes up with it. Michigan is going to be able to dribble out the clock. 13 seconds to go. Michigan leads 65-52. A huge win over number 24 Maryland for Michigan. They improved to 23-3 on the season. Meanwhile, Maryland falls to 19-7. They'll be 10-5 in the Big Ten. Michigan 12-3 in the Big Ten. Maryland made it interesting, but John Beilein's Wolverines found a way.
This is a really great win for Michigan. Obviously, we've said many times throughout this broadcast, coming off that terribly ugly loss against Penn State, to get a big win against an unranked team and keep their win streak alive at home as well. Really good for the confidence of this team. It seems that they really play up to their opponents and kind of down to their opponents as well. All losses coming to unranked teams, but all wins against the big powerhouses that they've faced.
Michigan improves to 12-3 in the conference. Michigan State 11-3. Purdue 10-3. Maryland and Wisconsin each have 5 losses now, so falling behind a bit in the race. But Michigan, it's going to be tight down the stretch. They still play Michigan State twice. They'll go to Maryland,
Yes.
which is a tough environment. How do you see this conference race finishing?
I think the conference race, I think it's obviously between Michigan, Michigan State, and Purdue. And I think there's a very good chance that that last regular season game for Michigan in East Lansing could very well decide the Big Ten winner.
Any closing thoughts on this performance from Michigan? Excellent game for Charles Matthews, Ignas Brazdeikis. John Teskey struggled, but a strong finish offensively, scoring 7 points in the last 10 minutes of the game.
I mean, everyone who was having not a great game in the first half kind of stepped it up in the second half and eventually found a way to get their job done. And I think that's what makes a championship team, is finding ways to win when your go-to isn't working.
Maryland, Bruno Fernando struggled in the first half. He scored all of his points in the second half, but they got down 15 points early, and it was just too big of a deficit to overcome for them.
And nothing to be ashamed of it with Bruno Fernando there. He's one of the most talented players in college basketball, and he's going to get his 12 points, his 12, 15 points one way or another. It's just they came all in the first half instead of split evenly throughout the entire game, or second half, excuse me.
Maryland heads to Iowa on Tuesday night, so a tough little 2-game road trip for them, Michigan and Iowa. Meanwhile, Michigan will head to Minnesota this week on Thursday before playing Michigan State next Sunday. We will have that call 3:45 p.m. WCBN Sports Radio. For Vanessa Litchard and Charlie Goodwin, I'm Evan Osterley. That's going to be all for us. Michigan winning 65-52 over number 24 Maryland here at Chrysler. Good night and go blue.